Well, this is episode 71 of ABC. I almost was not able to count. I'm Brandon. I was going to say I'm your host, Brandon, but that doesn't make sense because we're both hosts and we're not really
Yeah,
hosting anyone.
I would have slapped the shit out of you if you called yourself the
I
host.
mean, we could be co-hosts, but, like, if we're co-hosts, we have to be hosting someone,
Oh, that's true. Good point.
which we're not doing.
No, we're definitely not.
We don't
Because
have
the
we
only
don't
other
have
person here
guests.
is your boy, Nick.
I don't think it's your boy Nick. It's just Nick.
It's your boy, Nick.
YBN. Search for him.
What?
YBN. Search for him on SoundCloud. Your boy Nick.
Oh, okay.
He's garbage. If that turns out to be
Also
someone,
not on... I was about to say, also, if there is somebody with that on SoundCloud, it's not me. And please don't hurt that person. Probably has more viewers than us if that person exists
shout out to your boy Nick
on SoundCloud.
on SoundCloud. And
Send
so,
us some of your listeners, please.
send us some of your fucking revenue. Yes, episode 71. Once again, we'll be talking about Demon Slayer, Fire Force, well, Demon Slayer, Doctor Stone, Fire Force, and then Vinland Saga. Because we saved the best for last. But not necessarily in an ascending order.
Oh, sorry. I was looking up your boy Nick on SoundCloud. There
exist?
were results. I don't know if there were any users named your boy Nick, but there were a lot of albums named your boy Nick.
So then they're probably just people named Nick, too.
It's probably, yeah.
They're super creative, by the way.
Oh, yeah.
Not
We,
unlike...
people named Nick, are known for our creativity. I will have you know.
Yeah, we have the most creative name as well for our podcast. You know, just Anime Book Club, 3 of the most generic words ever. But we have here Demon Slayer, which Demon Slayer is also pretty generic, but whatever. It's a great fucking show.
It is a solid fucking show. And as you mentioned just this week,
What?
written by a
Oh, yes.
female mangaka.
Yes, but written by a woman. Much
I don't
like-
know how much that's relevant to anything else, but
just
I
thought
think
it
it's
was
somewhat
cool.
interesting for representation in the industry.
I guess so, but like same thing with Fullmetal Alchemist, brother, or Fullmetal Alchemist was written by a woman too.
I mean, yeah, but like, you don't really think of it outside of like shoujo manga
Yeah,
or stuff like Banana Fish, where it's like ostensibly like way more touchy feely than most other shows of that type. Like comparing Banana Fish to Vinland Saga, which both have that sort of style of
Or-
very narrative based and deep characters and all of that. The difference between them is like Vinland Saga is just basically revenge porn, where Banana Fish actually had like real touchy feely emotional shit.
This is when we find out that Vinland Saga is also written by a woman. I don't know.
I don't know either.
But we'll get. I guess we'll get to that discussion when we talk about Vinland Saga. But I would argue that's not revenge porn yet, because like it's
Okay.
only the first four episodes, and we've yet to see other stuff. But anyways, let's go ahead and quickly talk about Demon Slayer. Zenitsu is still on the house, dying,
Yeah.
but he's holding on as hard as he
Holding
can.
on by literally threads.
Yes. And then our boys Inosuke and Tanjiro are fighting Tarzan Spider Dad,
Yeah.
who's beating the shit out of them. Just full stop.
Pretty much.
Uh,
Well, to be fair, in its first evolution, as far as Tarzan Spider Dad is more just defending really well.
yes, but they can't really win against something they can't, break.
Right.
Instead, they break their own swords, which kind of sucks for them. Well, Inosuke
That
breaks
happens
his
way
own sword.
later.
It does happen way later, but Inosuke does. They both break their swords.
They do
Uh,
both break their swords.
We also get a teaser of Butterfly Girl and I don't know, Yellow Pattern
Better water
guy.
dude.
Better Water Dude. Yes.
Yeah.
The other guy that
Because
survived.
if you haven't learned yet, people who don't have the overcoat are basically the equivalent of Star Trek red shirts, and they will die. But as soon as you get that overcoat, you're a badass.
Well, I mean, that one kid was basically asking for it. Like, he just walks up, not understanding the situation at all, and Tanjiro's like, "Yo, kid, stop. You're going to die." And he continues to antagonize this kid like a fucking moron.
I mean, you're right. Yes, he is an idiot. But at the same time, I mean, they're red shirts, Brandon.
Yes, they are red shirts. I'm just saying, he could have been smarter about it. He could have survived. He could have been the one red shirt that survived this arc.
I mean, yeah, but, much like in Star Trek, where yeah, the Star Trek red shirts could have been smarter, but they never were. They were always mouth-breathing idiots who died at the first possible opportunity.
Well, some of them died because of situations outside of their control. Like one of them gets shot by a lizard.
To be fair, some of our red shirts last episode died from situations outside their control.
Yep.
They got fucking puppeted, didn't know what was going on, got stabbed by their friends. Like, there's no way you could expect that.
But anyways,
and they don't have the super sniffer to sniff it out.
Or the superhero, which at this point is no longer a thing.
Yeah.
So little Spider Girl like runs away after her. She calls the dad. So the dad's just there, beating up Inosuke and Tanjiro, and they're basically on the run for quite a while. They're trying different techniques to fight Spider Dad, like chopping down a tree, to like get him under the water so he drowns to death and stuff like that. Inosuke gets kind of somewhat jealous that Tanjiro is able to think in that way, whereas Inosuke just has one thought, and that's smash it with a sword.
Yeah.
Which comes into play later, where he really smashes something with the sword.
Right.
Twice as hard.
His logic is, if I can't smash it with one sword, I can smash it with one sword I can smash it with one sword and then the other sword a lot of times.
No. It's, I'm going to smash my sword with the other sword in my hand to then smash his hand.
Yeah, that's a better way of putting it. It's the transitive property of smash.
Exactly.
If I smash you once and it gets stuck, and then I smash myself several times and it doesn't get stuck, the transitive property of smash, you got smashed a lot.
This all happens after Tanjiro gets basically fucking home run half across the fucking forest, where that's where he meets Spider Girl and Little Spider Kid.
Yeah, as Brandon mentioned, they chopped down a tree to try and trap Spider Dad under the water, and then proceeded to not do anything with their opportunity for a couple seconds. And then Tanjiro jumps onto the tree and promptly gets thrown halfway to the fucking moon.
Halfway to Siberia. And that leaves Inosuke alone. And Tanjiro's like, hey, don't die. Or, don't die! Well, he's,
Don't die! He also says, this is one of the demon moons, which I'm not certain I believe.
See, the moment he said that, I was like, nope, you're wrong. That flag has been raised, you are now wrong. It's gonna be the kid.
It's gotta be the kid.
Yeah.
Because they haven't showed one of his eyes. So
exactly.
We might have the thing on his other eye.
Mm-hmm. And we've also seen 12 of Spider-Man's eyes, and none of them have the number 12 on them.
Yeah. He did have way too many eyes.
That's how
he started out with 7 and went up to way too many, and I was like, just couldn't stop at 8, could you? Just couldn't help yourself.
But that leaves Inosuke to fight Tarzan and Spider-Dad alone. And he's struggling, mostly because he's fucking stupid and doesn't know what strategy is.
But to be fair, his double smash technique did work. He cut off his arm.
That's why. If he can't think about it, or that's what he decides, is he's not smart like Tanjiro, so fuck it, he's just gonna smash it as hard as he can. And
well, to be fair, his logic was actually more along the lines of, Tanjiro told me to not die, so I've been running away like a pussy. And instead I'm gonna do what I'm good at, which is hit things a lot. And
so he does. After he cuts off Spider Tarzan's dad's arm off, the roles get reversed, where Spider-Man dad is just fucking running away, and Inosuke's running after him, like it's his fucking chew toy. And this goes on for a minute.
Yeah, they play fucking like tag in the woods for a while, or not tag. They play hide and seek in the woods.
Yes.
And we learned that while Inosuke is running around and then remembers, oh, by the way, I have Spidey Sense, the power.
Yeah.
The most broken ability ever. So he Spidey senses out, realizes where he is, right as Spider-Dad fucking evolves.
Well, I like how he realized he should have just looked up with his, like, super cool ability. He can, like, sense miles away, and all he has to do is look up.
Which, to be fair, I mean, in a forest, when you're chasing some big-ass dude, I guess you wouldn't immediately think, like, I better look straight up in the trees. Like, it probably just doesn't come up, but
it's probably dark.
I'm more offended that as Spider-Dad books it, you're not like, I'm just going to stand here and wait till you stop, and I'm going to just hunt you down with Spider Sense.
As well. But Spider-Man, Tarzan Dad was running away because he was about to evolve into, I don't know, fucking...
Mecha Tarzan?
Venom Tarzan Dad.
Venom Tarzan is a better way of putting it.
Where
this motherfucker grew like 4 eyes and spikes.
and is a lot stronger. He's also a lot beefier. He bulked up.
Yeah, he did.
Um,
He went from being like 1.5 people to like 3 people.
he went from
It was
Virgin
very
Spider-Man Dad to Chad Spider-Man Dad.
Yeah, which is weird to say. Seeing, well, I guess they're not actually family, so he may be.
We don't know if
virgins.
they're family.
They're
pretty-
implied to not be literal
Yes.
family.
Because fake is Spider-Man teenager's kid, his trigger word.
Yeah.
But this leads to my favorite scene, where Inosuke's like, I'm gonna fight as hard as I can, and he just gets punched and just pinballs across the fucking forest. It was hard seeing them do my man dirty like that.
Oh god, Inosuke got reamed by that guy. Like evolved Venom Tarzan Dad, it was brutality.
Yeah, that's the point where like all he's trying to do is survive. And then comes along better waterbender swordman to actually cut off the hand, do it really well and easily because you know when
He's
you're
the best.
yeah, he's the best.
Around.
And that's the end of like his little like section with Inosuke. So Inosuke meets Tanjiro's, not Tanjiro, I guess Tanjiro Senpai because they got like
I guess.
taught by the
Trained
same
by the same
person.
dude.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So he'll meet that guy, and they'll, I guess, do some stuff. Or, you know, the dude's just gonna say, "You're not dead. Peace out.
Yeah.
You can survive on your own now."
I gave you a teacher, and that's all that I have to do for you.
Well, no, to Inosuke,
Deuce, nerd.
because he hasn't
to
seen
Inosuke,
Tanjiro yet.
yeah.
And then on the flip side, with Zenitsu, he's trying to stay alive. He, you know, hears his granddad's voice telling him to, you know, not look into the light, and comes along little butterfly girl, who like does some butterfly pixie dust shit, and I guess is gonna make him better.
Probably.
She's also voiced by Yukino's voice actress as well. Same thing with Hakwa from The World God Only Knows, and a handful of the people that I don't remember.
Wow. That's a very different voice than either of those 2 other characters.
Really?
The butterfly
I
girl?
think it's just been a while since you've heard their voices.
From Yukino and Aqua?
Hakwa, not Aqua. Hakwa.
Oh. Okay.
Yes, I was trying to remember what her name was, but yeah, it's Hakwa. There's an H there. Aqua's someone else. I think we've actually seen. I think there's a show that we're watching with her voice actress. I think.
What character was that in God Only Knows? Oh, the World God Only Knows. I'm sorry.
Yeah, the
Never
other
mind.
Scythe girl.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I was thinking of Konosuba.
Which actually, yeah, that also sounds similar. Is God's blessing on this wonderful world?
Yeah.
Yeah. It kind of, yes, they've got like similar wordage.
That's what messed me up. Was yeah. I'm sorry. I now know what show you're talking
It's
about.
understandable. Like the titles have similar wordage, and the name is an H. There's a difference of an H,
Yeah.
which is hard to like hear.
I
sometimes.
just thought you pronounced it with like a phlegm in your throat or something. Hakwa. I was like, okay, we're doing this today.
Yeah.
But yeah, okay.
So that's that.
I don't remember Hakwa in a while, but yeah, her voice, the butterfly girl's voice, was like kind of high pitched, and it was very like ditzy sounding, which added into the whole like she lands and goes like, hello, anybody home, kind of thing.
Hey, you're not dead yet, are you?
Yeah. Can you see how many fingers I'm holding up?
False. I am holding up 0 fingers. So we are now onto Tanjiro, who is fighting.
Oh, we also didn't mention
What?
fucking Zenitsu might not have an arm and a leg anymore.
Oh yeah.
Because he's in the middle of transforming, and we saw like his arm wasn't in his sleeve, and then we see his leg, and his leg is clearly not in his pants anymore.
Okay, so that's what it was. I was wondering what happened.
Yeah, I think he's transforming.
I guess like the spider venom didn't go away.
I guess so.
All right.
So we'll see if he gets those back,
Well,
because that could be the end of our boy.
now he's gonna have, but now he's gonna become a butterfly. Come on, Nick.
I'd be okay with that. As long as he also learns to fight, I'd be happy.
Learns to not use one move, aka
Yeah.
just vault tackle everything.
Well, I mean, he can use the one move all he wants.
Oh.
He just needs to use it, not have to pass out first.
Never mind. Was he past?
He fainted.
I guess he was.
Yeah.
He did fainted, but he was aware though. He knew what he did.
I mean, yeah, kind of. We don't really know like how
Okay.
it all works.
Yeah, at
He
this point,
definitely
like,
stress fainted.
yes. At this point, we shouldn't like wonder how fainting works in anime because it's just complete bullshit. But whatever.
Yeah.
Tanjiro's story is he meets up. He basically after he gets thrown halfway across the fucking forest. He lands using his water shit moves to break the fall like we've seen him do multiple times.
Mm-hmm.
And he finds Spider Girl and Spider Boy.
Yeah.
Spider Boy's beating the shit out of her fucking sister because he's a fucking douche. And Tanjiro takes offense to this and tells him, quit doing that. It's kind of shitty.
Stop picking on your sister, bitch.
Yeah. Even if even if she's your fake sister, you shouldn't do that. And he's like, what the fuck did you just say about fake? That's when we get Red Shirt, and Red Shirt's like, yo, don't worry. This guy's a kid. I'm gonna beat him up. He gets sliced into about 20 pieces.
Yeah.
20 like evenly chunked pieces. So if you want to cook some meat, it's that's what you use.
They reenacted the basement scene from the first Resident Evil movie where the laser beams came out and just cut him into perfect diamond chunks.
I'm just gonna believe you because I haven't watched that movie and I don't intend to.
Okay. It wasn't a great movie, but that scene was awesome.
Cool. Doesn't the character have 2 golden guns?
In the first one? I don't think so.
Oh,
I think that's one of the later ones.
Okay.
There's a lot of Resident Evil movies, so it's hard to remember what happens in all of them, I'll be honest.
Anyways.
I remember the laser beam one because they only deal with the Umbrella facility in the first one.
Okay. Anyways, that happens to Red Shirt, and now the Spider Boy is fighting Tanjiro, who's trying to not get the same shit done to him. The very last scene is him kind of trying to use one of his water sword moves to cut off to kill Spider Boy, and then the little web that he uses, the thread, cuts his sword. So now we have that going on, and 100% that guy's one of the 12 moons.
Also, we had Inosuke break his swords off on Spider Dad's chest or something. I
think he stabs him in his neck and they break off.
Yeah, he goes for a slash.
Or I think
he goes for a slash first and breaks him, and then he stabs him in his neck.
Oh yeah,
Do
yes.
anything with that.
So the first part, the way he breaks his sword is that he tries to double slash him on his neck when he's turned around, and that's when it breaks. Okay. And then he uses them to stab Tarzan Dad's neck. Yeah. And that's when he's basically being crushed by his hand.
He's getting one hand skull squeezed.
Yeah, all the fucking blood coming out. Jesus.
Oh god.
Gruesome.
It was actually kind of unsettling to like the sound design too of you could kind of hear crickle cracking of presumably bones and shit. Yeah. It was unsettling to listen to.
But that was that was this episode. Our boys are in a heap of trouble.
Yeah.
They're out of the
I also really liked the sound design for Tanjiro's sword breaking. Because you had the music doing the huge build up and it was fading in and it was doing the shonen thing of something really cool is about to happen, and then just completely dead cuts at the sword break. And even the moments before it, instead of it was a very heroic sounding tune of building up to Tanjiro doing something cool. And, right before that scene, it sort of starts to distort almost and get kind of screechy and really. And then it cuts to that scene where the music just stops and his sword snaps, and you get the one high pitch ding of the sword breaking. So it was a really well done sound design. In terms of you didn't see it coming, it wasn't ominous music, it wasn't clearly depicting things are not about to go well for your hero. In every regard, you thought it was going to go good right up until it went horribly awry.
And so, Dr. Stone. Once again, surprise. What's his face? Probably isn't dead. Oh shit, it's 9/11, not
Senku.
Yes, Senku.
Yeah, they kind of just the first chunk of the episode was let's save Senku.
It's really trying to make you believe that Senku's dead.
Yeah. Without trying too hard, to be honest. Because we had yet another whole episode or half an episode of Senku memories and how useful he needs to be to the world. So you just know he's not dead.
Yes, although he's technically he's not alive because so what I thought your reading of the whole thing in the neck was, which is true. He does have a piece of thing on his neck. Was that that stone was going to protect him?
Right.
But the logic in the or in the show is that if that stone is that when they break the stone away, it's gonna fix his neck again. So
Yeah.
technically his neck is broken. Like, he's kind of dead as dicks right now. In the
Yes.
logic of the show, he's actually dead.
In the logic of the show, he is dead, but in repairing the stone with the miracle fluid, it will fix the breaks and he'll be alive again.
Yes.
Or whole again, we'll say.
Unless in the next episode, Senku's like, yeah, I was just kind of joking about everything. I was completely fine the entire time.
We'll see.
We'll see.
But my assumption the reason they're doing this is because, like, it could then be brought to... It could be used to, like, repair people who had been broken.
Oh, so, like, actually, yeah, maybe.
Because, like, we
If they
saw
try to find out a
people,
way.
like, you know, as over the course of, like, the 3,000 whatever years, like,
Yeah,
people's arms and legs got broken off, like,
Yeah.
you know, the way that extremities of fucking fragile things tend to get broken up. So, like, I'm assuming the reason they're doing this is to say, like, if we just tie this arm onto this body and we pour the miracle fluid on it, a whole person will come out and they'll be fine.
Although I think he tried doing that, or he already tried experimenting with that.
Well,
like, putting things together.
all he said was he poured miracle fluid on a broken piece of person and it became
Oh.
a normal person again. He didn't try, like, slapping some shit on another person and, you know, or, like, he didn't try putting a broken thing back together and
Okay.
unbreaking it.
And so now they're just probably gonna find like some plaster shit and just plaster that fucking motherfucker on there, and
Yeah,
good as new.
that's my assumption.
Maybe that's when the breaks in the skin become visible, or how that's gonna develop later on,
Maybe.
or how that one guy has that like cut off neck that you remember saying
Yeah.
was because they put his head back on and like with some plaster with some clay, and then pour the miracle fluid over him.
Maybe. That'd be kind of cool.
We'll see what happens.
I'm down with that.
But yeah, the first half of this episode is, the first fourth is Yuzuriha and Taiju's confrontation with Tsukasa, where their goal is to run the fuck away.
Yeah.
To get away from Tsukasa with Senku. And they do this by spreading out the gunpowder everywhere, throwing up the rock so that it sparks a fire, and then, causes a distraction. And so, they run away.
Yeah.
And
Because they, again, in the list of things that, don't work scientifically, first of all, we have, if you just smash rocks against rocks, you don't actually create sparks. Like, you can't just slam rocks on rocks and be like, sparks, they're everywhere. I can ignite gunpowder with this. Like, it just doesn't work like that.
I think their logic is that there's iron pyrite in the rock, which sparks.
Okay.
Yeah, that's what they said last time.
I guess we can accept that. The other thing is, like, they have the we're gonna light gunpowder on fire. It doesn't really explode the way they showed.
It would go more like a thoop. Shit. Whoops.
I mean, it would make like a lot of smoke, but it doesn't like, it doesn't have the explosion that they showed. It would just have a giant pillar of smoke, and it would be more like a flashbang of like it would just all turn into like really bright fire, and then it would just be like smoke.
Yeah, I remember seeing this on like Mythbusters. It goes, it kind of makes like a thoop sound where everything just kind of burns, and then just a bunch of smoke everywhere.
Because like it's the sound of just like wind or air, like the gas
just
is expelling
compressing.
out. So you just get like the
decompressing
sound.
Mm-hmm. But anyways, with that aside, they run the fuck away. And they're basically trying to figure out what Senku. Yuzuriha puts the pieces together. That Senku was kind of like always making kind of not subtle gestures about his neck, so that he would incept Tsukasa with the idea that he should break his neck, because that's his only like that's the part with the stone on it. So if anything happens to him, hopefully the stone thing works, where you pour some shit on it and it helps fixes it.
Right. It's his I hope for a reset button.
Yep. Which is actually going to be a reset. And for the most part, most of the later episode is then just kind of, here's some shit that fucking Senku does and all other crap.
Yeah.
And why we need him so much. One thing that I forgot to mention was that Tsukasa does have like this little what if backstory, or what if flashback, where like what if he was friends with Senku. It was kind of a nice little flashback. Kind of liked it.
It was. I think we also saw Tsukasa's sister in it.
Yes.
Because we see in like the second or third scene,
Mm-hmm.
they're walking with like a little blonde girl wearing a shell necklace, and
Yes.
so I'm assuming that's Tsukasa's sister. So maybe she's not dead.
I don't know.
Like maybe
That whole
she's
thing was a
just in like
fantasy.
a like she's in like a super coma or something.
Well, I saw the thing as more like as a whole fantasy, so like I don't know what's real and what isn't. I just didn't really like take anything for her as like this is real. We just happened to see a sister at that
It's
point.
fair, yeah. I can understand that, but like, I don't know.
You want to believe that his sister's alive?
Yeah, I want to believe that a sister's gonna show up.
Okay.
I want to believe that that's gonna be like the peaceful resolution at the end of this. It's like we revived your sister, bitch, and I cured her. Suck it.
Maybe.
I mean, I doubt it.
I
They're
see
probably gonna
Tsukasa
have like an
dying.
actual. Yeah, dying. I don't know if he's gonna die.
Well, maybe. Who knows what happens? Maybe.
I mean, yeah, we'll see. We'll see what they develop down the line. He could die, but I could also see them like re-weaponizing the petrification and re-petrifying him or something until like they can revive him. When it's like, look, we've already revived reality. You can't fight this anymore.
Or even better yet, someone worse comes along and he decides to team up.
Yeah.
Which is very tropey. Which is a shonen trope. Where sometimes you have a villain that joins the gang. So we'll see if that happens.
We'll see. Tsukasa's just on like the far side of like the ideological divide. That like I can't imagine him joining up again. But we'll see what happens.
I've seen more stupid shit happen. Not in this shit, but in other ones.
Okay. What was the other backstory? Like, what was the other half of it that we got with Tsukasa? I don't remember what the back half was.
No, that was it. That was just Tsukasa's like not in the back half at all.
Or no, I'm sorry, not Tsukasa. The Senku back half.
Oh my god, I don't remember.
I don't remember
feel
what
like
the back half of the show was.
A lot of it was basically just kind of a reiteration of what happened last episode.
No, it couldn't be.
Couldn't it be?
It had to have been something from like reality, right? Oh no, it was like Senku's first days. Where he was like building like spears and shit and running around like an idiot in the forest.
Yes,
and the monkeys are making fun of him all the time.
Yes, we get a flashback to not so far in the past, where Senku finally wakes up.
Yeah.
Where we have fucking Monkey, Waldorf, and what's his face just make comments about this fucking weird ass human.
Yeah.
For half an episode.
Because to be fair, it would be real weird if some fucking crazy thing just appeared in your world that
and just started smashing rocks together for no fucking reason.
Yeah.
But yeah, it details Senku's progression from not being able to make fire to being able to make fire and eating, food, eating meat.
Yeah.
And making weapons and shit.
And like all the stuff along the way in terms of like he learns how to make sharp rocks to make spears. And he learns how to hunt deer with the spears, and then he learns how to build clothes and build a shelter and shit like that.
He doesn't use the spear to hunt the deer. He makes traps to hunt the deer.
He makes traps to hunt the deer.
He's not athletic.
There is a scene where he runs around behind the deer with a spear like an idiot.
Yeah.
But yeah, so we kind of see like how Senku's side of things sort of started before, what's his name showed up, 8-Man.
Yep.
So that was like the backstory that we didn't have for the first episode. Which, again, kind of confirms Senku. He's real fucking important. So, odds on he's not dead.
Man, if he was actually dead, though, what a fucking curveball.
I mean, I feel like if he was actually dead, they would have, like...
moved on by now?
Yeah. And there would be nowhere for them to go. In terms of, like, believability of the gang developing future technologies.
Oh. I was gonna say, they can go somewhere, that's the village, but the whole tech thing that this show has been building up to, I'm not sure that would lead anywhere.
Yeah. Because Senku is the driving force of that, so without him, it would be weird, to say the least of it.
Yes.
Also, just because he features so heavily in the intro, I feel like he's the main character and has to survive, therefore.
He is the main character. Don't let the fact that Taiju woke up, or that we saw Taiju wake up first.
And Taiju has a love interest.
And Taiju has a love interest. We don't know if Senku has a love interest. Oh, Senku's love interest is science. Damn it. Got there first. Anyways.
Gotta just
Yes.
commit to the punchline. None of this setting up this shit.
Shut up. And so that ends that episode. We get, he's totally dead crying, and oh my god, he might be alive. And then,
Yeah.
hey, Senku's really important. It'd really suck if he was dead.
And we also have Yuzuriha reveals to Ape Man that Senku saved me. He sacrificed his life for me, and Ape Man remembers back in the day. Senku said if he was ever in a situation similar to this exact one, where he has to decide between his friend, his love interest, which we'll just say is Yuzuriha, he doesn't actually care, and himself, who would he save? And his response, everyone. So clearly Ape Man knows Senku had a plan. He would never just give himself up. He would try and save everyone. So
Yes.
Ape Man fully believes this is Senku's, plan to save everybody by pretend sacrificing himself.
Yes.
So I'm convinced we're going to see him again.
At this point, we're not going to see him again.
Yeah. But that's Dr. Stone. So let's go.
That is Dr. Stone. And on to our next element, fire. From Earth to Fire. Fire Force. And then from... damn, I didn't have a good segue for this. But we have a Dominatrix. That's the first thing I want to mention.
Oh, we do have a Dominatrix. You're right.
That's the first thing we see. Wait, no, it's not. The first
We get
thing,
some radar shit.
We have some radar shit. We have, like, the plane chemtrail up in the sky. And then we get the Dominatrix. Where I guess, like, this is an okay thing in the workplace environment.
It is for their workplace, I guess.
Yeah. Where she just has a seat made of men, and then she has, like, a red carpet also made of guys.
And to be fair, they all do seem very ecstatic about what's happening.
They do. And they're also all about, being her carpet.
Yeah.
And she also is wearing some really, spiky heels. So it
yeah.
cannot be comfortable.
Oh,
Which
no.
they're
Those
okay
guys are,
with.
like, paralyzed.
I mean, they're okay with it. Basically, they're talking about an event that's currently happening. This episode has to do a thing where, like, it kind of goes back in time, then forward in time, and then back in time again. It likes to flip around a couple... It does it a couple times. I'm not sure why. I don't know if it was done in the manga. It was probably done in the manga where we have, like, a flash forward, then the flashback to the present, leading into what was the flash forward. And those were, like, 3 different chapters or something. That's my guess as to why it was done this way.
I think it was more just, like, as a teaser? In terms of... Yeah, because, like, the first scene sort of set up that there was a Infernal that they were very interested in being pursued by a third generation, and the 5th squad was setting up to, like, go out and, interfere with it.
Okay.
So as we watch the show, as the show progresses, we have this idea, or we have this knowledge in the back of our head of what's coming in terms of the 5th squad is going to show up and interfere.
Okay. So as a teaser, they kind of do that stuff because that sounds good enough. That makes sense. We get a couple of scenes that we actually use throughout the episode, like the little 119 guy is just kind of standing there with the balloons, looking up at the sky, which comes into play later.
I kind of hope they make more appearances in this show.
I like them; they're really funny.
They're very funny. I was not expecting the one to talk.
There is there's this dumb fun conspiracy that I read one of the the one of the comments stated, which I'll talk about in just a second, which are real hike, and I hope it's true.
Okay.
But anyways, after that we get the opening, and then we cut to Captain talking with our little devil man, who I forget his name, but whatever. They're watching a news report, basically that doesn't show what happened the day before, and the captain makes a mention that, hey, they're probably, suppressing this information for some reason, and they don't know why, and they're trying to figure it out. Along comes a sergeant who's like, yo, that stuff that the one dude used, that Joker used for the fire, it was actually infernal ash. Yeah, and they're kind of surprised at this fact. So infernal ash is, the remnants of what happens when you kind of take down an infernal. Essentially, like, cremated remains. And that's what they're using to create, those explosions.
Yeah.
And because they're
They're
very
using
religious,
dead people bodies, basically.
they're using dead people. They're literally they're almost basically using cremated ash.
Yeah.
Is what I take from that. And essentially, because that is basically desecrating a body, the captain's not very thrilled about it.
Yeah. It does also lend itself to the question of where the fuck are they getting it from?
I don't know.
I mean, we know that some, suspect shit is going down with some of the fire, like the...
Some of the districts?
Yeah, the districts. We know that they're doing some suspect shit, but do you think they would be supplying the enemy? That's basically what Joker is, as far as I can tell.
But that right there was my conspiracy theory from last episode. It's one of the districts, I think the one that's with the company, is perpetuating the creation of Infernals and Infernal Ash to make more money.
Oh, you did say that, didn't you?
I did.
Well,
okay, put on my tin hat.
Because, they're getting Infernal Ash from somewhere. And you'd expect that, every time an Infernal shows up, the Fire Force would hear about it.
Right.
Because they're the group that's specifically, designed to take them down. But we'll see. Maybe there's some, underground Infernal killing shit going on. Who knows?
What are they trying to hide? Yeah.
But it does raise a lot of questions. Where do they get this shit from? It raises a lot more questions than the obvious question of why. Why are they doing this? Because obviously we're going to explore why. I'm now more interested in the, how aspect of it.
Mm-hmm. Well,
both in terms of how do they learn about stuff like this and how do they get it.
Yeah. After we get that scene, we cut to Maki and the two boys kind of just doing some paperwork. We get a fun little comedic scene where someone calls in and Arthur's like, "Yo, you called Arthur, Knight Esquire, King of Camelot. Tell me what you need." Maki takes the phone away.
What you working with, girl?
Yeah, Maki takes the phone away. And, decides to answer like a normal person. And it's a call about a dog stuck up in a tree.
Yeah, because they're firefighters.
Yep. So Maki tells him to go and fix it.
Yeah.
Also, there's a quick scene with the sister, and she's just in the district fire station church, just doing stuff. But it wasn't that interesting.
Well, she's looking at a burned picture.
Yes.
Which my assumption is, and it has been for a while, the ending sequence is her backstory, basically.
Yeah. So I'm pretty sure that's a picture from the ending sequence too.
No, is it okay?
Yeah.
But yeah, so she has a real burned up picture, and the ending sequence is all about how this basically convent of it's a convent of nuns in training. They all mass turned into infernals except for.
Wait, I thought one of them turned into infernal, or there was a big fire.
Oh well. I mean, it's censored now, so you can't see it, but the earlier episodes, if you watch it, there's a scene with 4 or 5 different little nun girls who are all infernals. So
I thought that was just them burning up.
Oh my, they had more skeletal look, and the
infernals
were all depicted that way, so I assumed they were all infernalized.
Quite possibly. We'll find out later.
But yeah, they either all infernalized or all got burned by a single infernal. Yeah. I can't really tell.
Something happened. Something with fire happened, hence the term Fire Force.
And I believe that, the sister was one of, or the only survivor.
Yeah, probably the only one, given the sequence and the ending.
Yeah, and so, in the picture, it was hard to, get any detail out of it, because it was sort of a
very dark.
Very dark, no real detail, it was very vague. But I think you could tell there was definitively one character who was the sister, and so my assumption is that wasn't just a random picture of other nuns that she knew. I'm assuming it was, in fact, that was her life. The ending is canon to her life, basically.
Oh, I kind of just blindly took it as a canon, but
okay.
I should do that though. It is just an ending.
Yeah,
it doesn't have to be canon.
My assumption is it is now, because of this picture.
Yes, we now have evidence in the show itself that lends credit to the fact that it is canon and it is her backstory.
Yeah.
Whereas before it could have just been another artist representation of what happened.
Yeah. Or it could have just been another blonde nun.
Oh yeah, just some other chick.
We never saw her face, so we had no way of knowing if it was the sister or not.
I always saw the blonde hair.
We saw the blonde hair, but I mean, it could have just been another blonde nun.
Yeah. So Arthur and the other kid, Shenra. I think his name is Shenra, but I don't think it's right. I keep
Shinra?
Yeah, Shinra. I keep thinking of the Shenron dragon from Dragon Ball. Yeah, Shinra and Arthur go out to help one of 119, the little old man looking dog,
Yeah.
and they ask him like, what the fuck happened to you? And the dog actually talks. Well, the old man dog talks and tells him that a bunch of college kids just threw him up in the tree because there's a bunch of fucking goons.
Because apparently people are not super happy with the Fire Force as a whole right now.
Yes. But the conspiracy theory that I read in a comment that I liked is that he like knows secrets and is like basically got like he knows whoever's inside that costume knows secrets, and he's like basically just has to do this mascot job because he knows this shit and is like basically being surveilled. That's why like he's just in the costume now and doesn't get taken seriously.
Huh.
It probably not true at all, but like just given the way he talked, I feel like he knew something. It was strange. At least he struck me as strange. Aside from the fact that he's a dog man.
Yeah. I mean, you could be right. It would be very interesting to see if that turns out to be the reality, but I certainly don't expect it.
Yeah.
I don't think there's a lot to support it, at least.
Not at all. Nothing at all.
Yeah. But it would be interesting if that was their way of basically discrediting him, was turning him into one of the mascots so nobody believed him.
Yep.
It does then lend itself to the question of, why don't you just leave? Like, tell it to like a journalist.
Just go away.
Yeah. You could be an unnamed source to a journalist and it would have the same effect. You wouldn't have to say, yeah, I'm this old mascot dude.
Yeah. So, after, that, Arthur and Shinra basically just stay and help the little mascots hand out balloons, and that's when District 5 gets called about an infernal that appears in the courthouse.
Yes.
The infernal that appears in the courthouse is an old mass murderer. I forgot his name.
And specifically, not just an old mass murderer, but he also
part of the Fire
was
Force.
a part of the Fire Force when he went on his murder spree.
Yep. And the judges find him not guilty, which everyone's not happy about that.
Specifically, not guilty by reason of insanity,
Yeah.
which is not in itself a not guilty verdict. It's not like he gets to go free after that.
Yeah.
At least not in America, he wouldn't. In America, you get locked up in a mental institution, which I've heard is
Not
probably
good.
a less good place than prison, realistically. They can be some fucked up places. And as we heard about from the Lore podcast, used to be way worse.
Yeah, used to be fucking shitty.
Back in the days of those ice pick lobotomies.
Well, no. Before they were okay, and then they got shitty.
And then they got real shitty.
Yeah.
Now they're just sort of mediocrely shitty.
Anyways,
But yeah, so people are real up in arms about the fact that this dude is getting a not guilty by way of insanity verdict. Again, I argue, is not actually a real not guilty verdict. He does go to jail for the rest of his life, but people are upset nonetheless.
I don't know like how.
Yeah, I don't know how things work in Japan.
Yeah, I don't know how things work in
Very
Japan.
different in Japan.
And
in America, he would still go to jail or go to
yeah,
a holding facility for the rest of his life.
yeah, there's definitely might be some cultural stuff that kind of doesn't translate entirely well.
Yeah.
At the same time, though, it's like you still get insanity plea. Like, still, people want to see someone get guilty if they actually did something. So even in America, I think people will still kind of be mad about it, even if they, do go to an insane asylum or mental institution. But anyways,
I mean, kind of. It's sort of like I don't know enough about, or I haven't seen enough about sort of the cultural outcry in response to when people get
that's the insanity
guilty.
plea.
Yeah, the insanity plea. But for a lot of it, the implication in getting it is you're admitting I did the thing, but I'm not guilty, or I'm less guilty because I basically was unable to stop myself because I didn't understand the full implications of what I was doing.
Yeah.
So I don't know enough about in terms of how people see it in America, but personally I look at it as when you get the insanity plea, you're going to jail forever, basically. Or it's not jail, it's a mental institution, but you're going there forever.
You're going somewhere, and you're not allowed to leave.
Yeah. And they are going to, you know, basically take your life apart. Like prison, at least, is you get thrown in prison and spend your time with a whole bunch of dudes, and yeah, there's some like messed up stuff that happens in prison, but for the most part, like it's just sort of incarcerated life. With the mental institution thing, it's like you're gonna get, you know, poked and prodded at and experimented on and like, you know, torn apart in terms of we want to figure out like what went wrong and like what you have and why you think the way you think. And you get all sorts of weird medications that, you know, numb you out and make you docile, which is way worse in my opinion.
Okay. Moving forward, after he gets the insanity, the successful insanity play, people once again are up in arms, and then he basically becomes an Infernal. Except this time, it's a little bit different. This Infernal can still talk and still understand things. Unlike the other Infernals, which just go crazy and basically...
And not just understand things, he understands who he was.
Yes. This is a sharp contrast to the other Infernals we've seen who aren't like that at all. So the second Infernal we see, he doesn't like have any sort of reason at all. He's just doing what his past self was already doing, and like trying hard just not to, you know, explode essentially. And the first Infernal we see basically just kind of goes haywire. Both the two Infernals we see both go haywire and just start attacking, you know, without cause basically.
Yeah.
Whereas this one knows exactly what he wants to do. In this case, he wants to just kill people because he believes that since he saved people, that like kind of his karma is now really good. So now he has to bring it back down so he can kill people. You know,
not has to, gets to.
Gets to, yeah. He's balancing it out. He gets to balance it all out because he did good things, therefore he's allowed to do bad things.
The logic being, I guess,
I don't know.
If I save one person, I get to kill one person.
I guess
the world owes that to me.
Yeah. He's fucking crazy. I thought he was going to be a stronger opponent than he actually was, because he gets fucking railed on by Shinra.
He was kind of a punk bitch.
Yeah, so he goes outside the courthouse, and Shinra and Arthur both show up, and they just beat the shit out of him. And then he runs away, and Shinra's like, yo, I've got the magic feat, I'm gonna go ahead of you guys to go fight him. So he does. It starts raining, and he once again beats the shit out of him. Like, he doesn't really do anything strong. Shinra just beats the shit out of him completely. Yeah. Works the floor.
He pretty much just manhandles him.
That was the Thorfinn versus the Thors versus everyone fight.
Basically. Where they came on looking like they were going to be strong, but just got manhandled.
Yeah.
Because Shinra kicks that car up in the air and then kicks it back down into the air, and dude really surprised. Doesn't do anything. Yeah, doesn't do anything to dodge it. It just doesn't get crushed because Shinra didn't go for crushing him with the car, and it just was.
It was very one-sided.
It was very one-sided.
That is to say,
he got booted halfway across fucking. He got double booted like halfway across the fucking street.
And that is to say that the fight looked awesome. It looked fantastic.
It did.
It's always very kinetic, and regardless of basically who is winning or how leveled out it is, they always manage to make it look great.
Yeah.
And so we get Dominatrix shows up because she wants to take control, or not she wants to take control of the Infernal and basically do exactly what you said actually a couple minutes ago, and just poke and prod him and figure out what the fuck's wrong, or what happened that this Infernal is able to think.
Exactly.
So now there's a confrontation between Dominatrix and Shinra. Even though this like moment was supposed to be like kind of she was supposed to look very like menacing, the whole thing of him looking up her skirt kind of broke that.
Yeah, it did. It was really out of place.
Yeah. Same thing with like the super like latexy suits of the Three Angels. I think they're called the Three Angels, right?
Something like that.
Regardless.
The Angels 3 or something, maybe.
Yeah. And they're just sitting on him. That was them sitting on him kind of makes sense.
That wasn't nearly as bad
because they're trying to actually keep him in place. So
yeah,
that's not too bad. But like
it was really just the upskirt thing was really awkward.
And also, she is a third generation fire flame user, and I think she does something to Shinra which like stops him from using his abilities for a little bit.
She basically gives him heat stroke, I think.
Yeah, she does something. But it did seem like he did get like
basically passes out.
Yeah, he passes out, and like you see smoke coming off of him, or not smoke, but like steam,
heat waves,
something. Yeah,
yeah,
something to denote heat.
Um,
He falls
but
down.
he gets held down by the three angels in the latex bodysuits. It doesn't really do anything to try and like fix himself at that moment. He sort of just accepts like I'm going to be held down by these three people and whatever. We're gonna have like a argument about who gets to have the infernal while I'm laying here on the ground.
Yeah, there's a quick back and forth, and then he's like, you know what, fuck this. So he just turns on his feet again.
Specifically, as they're having this back and forth, one of the guys who came and collected the infernal kind of runs over a 8-year-old child or something, and Shinra is not thrilled with that.
Oh, that was okay.
Because Shinra believes, we're here to help people as members of the Fire Force. And the response is, well, at least we didn't set him on fire. And that sort of triggers Shinra now. Who, again, resumes his I am the dude from Tekken
Eddie Gordo,
moves.
by the way.
Eddie Gordo, okay.
Eddie Gordo.
He removes it. He returns to his Eddie Gordo style, and goddamn do I love it.
It's so cool. He does like the fucking infernal twist. Awesome.
Yeah, that helicopter, like, with the flames shooting out of his legs, and just the way it looks so fucking cool.
He does that, and then District 5 shows up to back him up, and they have a confrontation. District 8, sorry. District 5's already there, and that's the domination chick. District 8 shows up, and they have a confrontation. Eventually, they decide that District 5 will take the Infernal because they have an actual like science department where District 8 is basically runs out of a abandoned school. And she makes a passing mention of that, basically saying that they're grovel and they should stay on the dirt or stay on the ground like grovel.
Yeah,
she likes to say the word grovel a lot.
And specifically, it's now a recurring thing. A lot of the characters in this show like to say words that have very similar meanings or very similar sounds to them. For example, our main witch likes the sputter, which in Japanese is apparently pusu pusu.
Yes.
And so I forget what the gravel one was, but it was another one where you like repeat the same syllable in it twice.
Oh, okay.
So we've now had a couple people who really like repetitive syllable words, which I actually kind of like the way they sound. I like the pusu pusu.
Pusu pusu comment.
Pusu pusu comment, and it immediately gets cut in half.
I love Maki.
I love how sad she gets when her things die.
Because they're alive, Nick. They have feelings. It thinks it's people.
It thinks it's people.
And so ends Fire Force with our captain and our Shinra, standing there saying, "Hey, we're District 8. We're not going to take your shit anymore." Directly after taking all their shit. Yeah. Also, the ending for the show, which we mentioned it earlier with the priestess. I fucking love it. It's so awesome.
It is really cool.
The song is great, and then the visuals are also really good too. Because it's got that really textured look, which kind of makes it look like it was like drawn on construction paper, kind of. Or there's a certain texture to it, and I don't know how to describe it, but it looks nice. And then the song is available on YouTube. It's called Veil. I have no idea what the band's name is called, or the band's name is called, because it's all in Japanese.
Okay.
But there we go. I was looking for it yesterday, and I found it, and I was so happy. Same thing with this next episode, or next show, Vinland Saga. Their opening is called Mujanko by Survive Said the Prophet, which is also a great fucking song. I love it. It gets me hyped up every time I watch it.
I don't know why, but I have a strong fondness for the intro to Dr. Stone.
I like it, but I don't love it. I like the ending more.
I wouldn't go out of my way to listen to the song, but in the context of the visuals, I just like their opening.
Uh-huh. I feel that way.
It's one of the few songs where, like, the opening song
with the animation is...
Yeah, the opening song is only made because of its animation. Without the animation, I don't like it nearly at all.
Okay.
But with the animation, I don't know, there's something about it. It's such a, like, kind of goofy song.
I do like all the imagery of, like, the tech kind of spreading out in the background.
Yeah.
Developing. It's kind of cool.
But we've never mentioned the Dr. Stone opening before. And
yeah.
Every time it just makes me grin for some reason because it's so dumb sounding.
Okay. Same thing with the Fire Force opening. I don't really like it as much. It's, I guess it kind of hypes you up, but I usually just skip it now. I don't skip the ending though, or the ending for Darkstone. And then I don't skip anything for Vinland Saga. I watch it all the way through.
All right.
But yeah, Vinland Saga. We start off and we see that our main character Thorfinn. Sorry, Thor isn't around anymore. Thorfinn is on the auxiliary boat which got taken by the Vikings. He's trying his best to survive. I think the little pail of water that's next to him is just seawater, so he's like can't drink it because he tries to and like he coughs it back up.
I guess so. There wasn't enough water in it to make me convinced one way or another if it was seawater or rainwater.
Yeah.
But I guess it must have been seawater because if it was rainwater, he should have just gulped that shit down.
Yeah. And on the other boats, everyone's looking, happy and fine, eating food, drinking water.
Yeah. Well, because they're Vikings. They got all that shit in their fucking storehold.
Yeah, exactly. Well, it's more like the contrast between, the Vikings being healthy and Thorfinn, living the bad life. And, he's basically just very sad and very angry. Well, yeah, he's very sad because shit's not looking up for him right now. It's in fact looking really bad. He doesn't have any food, he doesn't have any water. He has bags under his eyes because he can't fucking sleep, and he's tired as shit. So he needs to find a way to survive. And so we land on England a little bit later in the episode. And that is basically Thorfinn's chance to, find food and water while everyone else is away. I'm not sure why he doesn't just go into the other boats to, steal their food and water. Maybe they took him with him? I'm not sure.
I'm assuming they're, like, sailing, so he can't just, like, hurdle his way across the boats, because he's not
when
his dad
they
yet.
land.
Oh, when they land? I don't
Yeah.
know. Maybe they take their shit with them?
That's what I'm thinking. But he kind of follows them. Well, they'll also, do Viking shit for a couple of weeks. I'm not sure the time span, because Askeladd says they're not there for a long time. They're kind of just there to rest their bones. I think they're there for like a week. But I don't know what the metric is for rest your bones. Yeah. And much of the episode, well, not much of it. Once Thorfinn is off the boat, he tries to follow them. He follows them through. The other Vikings, I mean. And once they get to this village, he decides that he's going to try and fight Askeladd. He wants to duel, and this is his first duel of 2 duels in this episode. And he doesn't like that he has a small little knife. He decides to he's going to pick up this big ass sword, which he picks up the night before when he tries to assassinate Askeladd, but he doesn't want to do it. And he doesn't want to do it because he's not a coward. He wants to fight him man to man, despite the fact that he's like 7 years old.
Did you recover the fact that they burned down the village?
Yeah, they do burn down the village. That was before or after. No, before he tries to assassinate. I completely forgot this part. I was skipping over that part. I was skipping over the part where Vikings are Vikings and they burn down the village.
Somewhat important, yes. They roll up in this village. They get off their boat. Thorfinn doesn't really follow them. He just kind of walks into the woods in the same direction as them. He's not actually following them. He's just looking for food. But he sees in the distance lights, or not really lights. He sees fire. He sees fire.
Well, he sees a lot of fire.
He hears screaming and knows that this ain't good fire. But he comes over the ridge and sees that the Vikings are indeed being Vikings and burning down a village because that's what they do.
Also, they're fighting England.
So the Vikings have now taken over this village and sort of just accepted it for their own hangout spot for whatever amount of time they need to hang out here. And I'm assuming they also do it to restock on supplies and shit.
Probably. Get some ghosts and shit.
Yeah. And so while this is happening, Thorfinn finds a sword and goes to commit murder in the night and decides he ain't about that life.
Askeladd knew too. He was there.
Askeladd did know. He just kind of accepted whatever was going to happen. I'm assuming if Thorfinn had actually taken the chop, he would have stopped it, but who knows?
Yeah.
We'll never find out.
Maybe we'll find out next episode where he says, I knew you were there. I was going to stop you anyways. But anyways, Thorfinn decides not to kill him, but instead challenged him to a duel the next day, where he basically just runs at him with a sword, and then gets it stuck inside a little wood plank, and then Askeladd just kicks him. End duel. So, after Askeladd beats the shit out of the little boy Thorfinn runs away, and he tries to find a way to survive. First off, he gets taunted by some of the other guys, who are like, here, you can eat, all the scraps, and they throw it at him. And he's like, nah, I'll find my own way. We have kind of a quick 2-minute sequence where he's trying to find his own way, and he does not. He, can't find food, he can't catch a rabbit. He finds water and is able to drink it, but he really needs food. Mm-hmm. Eventually, he basically just decides to give up. At night, he goes over to where the scraps of bones were that the others were eating, and he just kind of starts gnawing on them. After which, he, God, I don't remember this part too well. There's a moment where he decides to use his knife. Was that this moment?
Well, we have the more interesting part where we go back to the village, the OG Iceland village, and we see the sister and the mom as they learn the news about Thor's, that he's gone. And the sister basically commits herself to
working and
work through the pain.
Yes.
And we see her pretty much succeeding. Despite the fact that, like, in the first couple episodes, we kind of saw her as more of a slouch. She really kind of comes into her own in terms of, like, taking care of business in this little sequence right here where she learns about the dad.
Yeah, and then the pinnacle, or the height of this scene, where we finally see her break down, is when she's trying to, she's out there on the loom trying to make a little rug, and her mom's like, you should stop working and rest. And the sisters continues on because she just wants to keep working, tells the mom that's okay, and then eventually we get her breakdown where she starts crying. They kind of have a little nice moment, and that's kind of where that part ends with them. I'm not sure what else is going to happen with this family, because we see bits and pieces of what's going to happen with Thorfinn, but not what's going to happen with the mom or the sister. I hope they have like a bigger role to play later on. It might be kind of cool.
Maybe.
I kind of want to see the sister become a lady Viking and beat the shit out of people. It's going to be awesome. She's Thor's dad. She's Thor's daughter, Nick. She's got it in her.
If you say so.
Who knows? From the opening, I think all like the villains or any other auxiliary character is going to be a dude, so I'm not sure that's going to happen.
Okay.
Then we cut back to Thorfinn trying to survive again. The moment where he decides that, hey, this knife isn't so bad, I should use it.
Well, specifically, he gets backhanded by the other Viking dude who went into, like, the rage last time. When he tries to use the sword again, he just kind of gets whooped on, or he gets backhanded, and the dude looks at him, he's like, you just are not the right body type for that sword right now, dude.
Oh, right. Bjorn.
And so Thorfinn realizes, maybe I shouldn't use the sword. Maybe I should work with this dagger instead.
I think that's the night where he's, slaps down on his little fire he made with some of the bone marrow he's eating, and out comes this wolf who's like, yo, bitch, give me some of that. The wolf, presumably hungry, tries to attack Thorfinn, and that's when Thorfinn decides to use the knife to stave off the wolf. And that's when he gets his second wind and tries to learn how to use the knife some more. And our next montage is him, learning slowly and but surely how to use the knife. And finally catching that damn rabbit by being able to... After he learns that he can throw the knife, he, tries to learn how to throw it even better, which is probably going to come into play much later, because he's going to get two knives. He's going to alternate with throwing them. He's going to be fucking... God, who's that one hero from Broforce that uses the knives?
Oh,
God.
The Danny Trejo character?
Oh, yes. I think it's Danny Broho. I think.
I think he's Machete, if I remember correctly, is the character.
Oh, he is Machete. I don't know what the bro name
Brochetti.
is. Brochetti. Okay, it's probably Brochetti.
I think so.
But yeah, he's doing his best Brochetti impersonation by throwing a knife. He's able to catch the rabbit, and that's when he's getting stronger now. He's got water, he's got food, he's got shelter. He's got a fire.
Kind of.
He's got a fire.
His fire, and I guess presumably has like animal skin blankets or some shit.
Maybe I wanted him to like just roll up on them wearing the wolf he killed. But anyways, we then get the second fight scene, where all the men are like, "Hey, Askeladd, fight the kid. He wants it. Go ahead and do it." But Bjorn's like, it's the leader's duty to fulfill his men's wishes. so he decides to go ahead and fight the kid again. This time around, Thorfinn doesn't get stomped on immediately. He makes a valiant effort to, swing the little knife around. But,
The reason he
Askeladd...
doesn't get stomped on immediately is because Askeladd just kind of watches him go.
Yeah, he kind of...
Like, he swings the knife several times, and Askeladd just kind of steps away from him.
Okay, here's a better phrasing. Thorfinn swings the dagger more than once this time around.
Yes, that is correct.
After Askeladd's kind of done with it, he just kicks him again.
Yeah.
A lot of times.
He doesn't overcommit himself on the first strike, and Askeladd is impressed, and then very quickly gets bored, and after about 8 or 10 slices, he gets dropped again.
Yep. And then once again, the dagger throwing break comes into play again, where Thorfinn, in a last-ditch effort, throws a dagger at him. And, right at his face, too. Had Askeladd not, blocked it, he would have a scar running through his face right now. And I think this is...
But he did block it.
Yeah, he did block it. But I think, this valiant effort by Thorfinn, kind of, it's a little glimmer in Askeladd's eye. He's like, I can use this.
Well, I think he always knew that
Yeah.
Thorfinn was kind of coming along in terms of becoming an actual warrior.
Yeah, and to be fair, Bjorn wasn't a complete douche to Thorfinn when he was out going to get the mushrooms.
To be fair, yeah.
But right now, Thorfinn is on the ground. Blood, just with presumably some broken bones, maybe. And Askeladd's just kind of looking at him, and Askeladd says, "Here, if you are able to, perform some great things,
deeds on the battlefield,
yeah, I'll let you challenge me again." And Thorfinn's like, "All right, that's a promise, right?" And Askeladd says, "Sure, it's a promise."
Whatever,
Because,
kid.
yeah, he always, promises are important to him, we've seen.
We have seen promises are important to him. We've also seen that,
Money is also more important.
there's a lot of gray space in between his promises.
Yes. And so now we get the reason why Thorfinn is around and stays with them, is that he wants to, do something great and then fight Askeladd. And we'll see how that goes.
Yeah.
I saw a preview for the next episode. We don't get a time skip just yet, I think. Or from what I saw, we see a fight, like our second big scale fight between the Vikings and Englishmen, and Thorfinn is in the middle of it. There is a new voice actress for Thorfinn, so people are thinking that there's going to be a time skip with the new voice actress playing Thorfinn.
Right.
So we might get a time skip. I just didn't see in the preview.
Okay.
So we have that to look forward to. Man, Vinland Saga is so cool.
It's alright.
I love the background. The backgrounds in this episode were great. They were very colorful and vibrant.
Yes. The basically set design is more or less what I would call it if this is a real thing. But yeah, the structure, the setting is really cool in terms of how it looks.
I really like the leaves.
Yeah,
Very
I like
pretty.
everything about it. The leaves are cool. I mean, even, when we had even Iceland, which is all snow and hills and shit,
And
looks cool.
Some yellow grass.
Yeah, it still looks nice. I like how it looks. I like the snow. It looks textured. You can tell hills and shit in the snow. It doesn't just look like flat snow.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's cool. It looks really nice. I don't know. The story to me is real, bordering on the edge of revenge porn in terms of we're just having Thorfinn sort of mindlessly hunt down Askeladd, and in lieu of having more of the story of what's going on with the Uber Vikings and shit, and what's going on with travels to America and Leif Erikson and shit like that. We're just getting Thorfinn's desire to kill Askeladd, and I just don't care.
Well, now that we've created that, because in the opening we do see a lot of other characters, and I'm wondering how they're going to come into play. So we might be getting into another arc where the entire story is carried through with Thorfinn's desire to have revenge, with arcs, with more that'll be our B plot, with our A plot being these arcs are going to come up soon. I think.
All right, maybe
We'll see what happens.
hope springs eternal.
That's the third time you said that today, or second. I don't know.
I don't know. I
I
can't
wasn't
say
counting.
I'm not in love with the show at the moment.
Okay. And so ends Vinland Saga, or this episode at least. Um,
How long is it? 24?
24 episodes. Yes, 24. Fire Force is 48. Doctor Stone's 24 as well, I think.
Okay.
And then Demon Slayer's ending the season.
Yeah. Possibly a second season, because I think there's enough source material, but I don't think anything has been confirmed yet.
I don't know if it's gonna get it next season though. Probably in a year.
Yeah, probably not for at least a year, if it does, because I think that's more like the usual run of things these days.
Yeah, because we don't want fucking fillers anymore.
Yeah,
Damn Murdo.
those fillers suck.
So today I would like to sell out to. Oh my god, I had a thing for this.
Do you remember sort of what's inspired the thing?
Oh my god. Well, whatever. I'll sell out to my secondary one. Oh, I'm gonna sell out to Limetown. That's what it was.
Okay.
Limetown was cool. It is a podcast slash like radio show. I don't know what it'd be called. Closest thing would be a podcast because it shows up on podcasts under Spotify. But it is a story. It is a mystery of a town that suddenly disappeared off, or whose inhabitants suddenly disappeared in America, and it is a reporter trying to figure out what happened to them. And it was very cool. I liked it, and I can't wait to listen to the second season.
It was really cool.
Yep.
It was probably the most unsettling thing we listened to across all of the stuff.
New
All
types
of the
and
Be
old types.
Scared shit. New types and old types, yeah.
To be fair, the Be Scared, like the showers part 1 and 2 were fun for me, and then part 3, 4,
Showers
and 5
Part
were
1 and 2
like,
are really good. Showers Part 1 and 2 are really...
Yeah.
Showers Part 1 was pretty good. Showers Part 2 was really good. 3, 4, and 5 were kind of shitty.
And the lower ones are, are just exploration of, creepy shit that happened.
Yeah. Yeah, lore is more history and shit.
Yeah.
Which, it is... The intent of it is not to be super creepy, it's just to explain...
It's creepy by proxy.
Yeah, exactly. Sometimes they talk about creepy things, sometimes they just talk about, like, spirits, spooky, haunting things.
Sometimes they talk about real shit like the Murder Castle.
Yeah.
That's when it gets real
creepy. Is super creepy.
Yeah.
But yes, like some of the Be Scared storytelling shit I just didn't find very scary.
I haven't come across anything that I found scary yet.
That's too bad.
Although I do like some of the
I like a really good scary story. I'm not a huge fan of horror as a genre, but scary stories I love for some reason. I guess, yeah, it feels weird to say I'm not a fan of horror, but then to say I'm a fan of scary stories. I'm not a fan of horror movies, really like scary stories.
That makes more sense.
Why. I don't know why that's the dichotomy in my mind.
I guess because like when you're reading it, there's kind of a different mindset to it sometimes.
Maybe.
Because like because when you're like writing or when you're reading something, you don't really see it, so your mind can kind of go wild with whatever however it looks. So like with something mysterious, like it is mysterious, and you can imagine it to be anything, but because it's a movie, like you have to show something, and that just makes it harder to makes it harder for the story if it's writing on this weird creepy shit's happening and you're not allowed to see it or something. I don't know. I feel like that's where it kind of messes up or works worse.
All right. I guess in that vein, I'm going to sell out to all writers of horror stories or prospective writers of horror stories.
Perspective.
If you've got, if you're a person out there who has a good mind for, you're thinking of you've got an idea in your head of this would make a good spooky, scary story, write that shit out. Fucking put that shit out in the world. I'll read that shit. I love reading things. I read things constantly.
Do you go on R No Sleep?
Sometimes. Every once in a while I'll go through that. I kind of bounce around between like No Sleep, writing prompts. There's a couple other like writing heavy ones that I'll like bounce between.
Oh, have you gone on 2-sentence horror?
I have not.
Those are really creative sometimes, and I really.
There was another 2-sentence one that I read. I forget which one I read. There was another 2-sentence subreddit, but like, I just fucking love reading. In terms of like, if there's a subreddit devoted to reading, I will, usually like once a month, I'll go through it and just consume probably the top like 100 things that got posted in the last month. Because just reading is so fun to me. I love reading what people have to write, fucking thinking about the shit they write. Just everything about writing is cool to me. Love it all. So if you've got an idea in your head for some spooky, scary shit, fucking write that shit down. I'll read that shit.
And even if it's not that great, your next one will be better.
It's true. Fucking look at our podcast. This thing is fucking hot garbage, but we're better than we were in episode 1.
Are we?
I absolutely were better than episode
Okay.
1.
I'll believe you. And so ends episode 71.
71.
Shit, if I knew what it was.
Well, I mean, it just sort of
It
worked
actually
together
looks
with
like
I was
it's
saying. We were
21.
bad in episode 1. It is, wait, what?
I wrote down 21. Or
Oh, did
my
you?
7 looks like a 2.
Okay.
But anyways, go on with what you're saying. How we're better. It makes me feel good.
Maybe we could contract a witch and we could watch ourselves jerking off about how good ABC is.
Oh, that's a little weird.
Is it? Is it weird, Brandon? Really think about it.